Imagine Chicago emerged out of a conference that I was giving on the relationship between faith, imagination, and public life. I'd drawn together a group of people in 1991 to really look at what imagination animates the life of a city, because Chicago was a city of great invention, but it was also a city that had a very strong history of racial and other kinds of economic division. And so I was really interested in how what we believe influences the way we go into public, how we act together in community. And at that conference, someone kept emerging, different people kept emerging in the course of the conference to take different pieces of it. And someone did a segment the second night of the conference in which they asked a very provocative question, an unusual question, which was to say, what do you believe are God's dreams for the city of Chicago? And the reason they asked the question that way is that someone had commented that God in Scripture sees cities as a whole, and that we are almost incapable of doing so. But if you imagine for a minute that a city would get judged as a whole rather than based on small actions by different people, and we had to think of a city as a whole, that it would be very important to do so. So in asking the question about God's dreams, that really led us to think from the whole. And they asked not only what was God's dream, but also what would be the resistances we might encounter in moving toward it, and what we thought it would take to bring it to life. I had been thinking for some time, because I was a corporate banker as well as a priest, that I wished I understood better how to think about the economy. I certainly knew how to think about it in market terms, because that was my daily job to do so. But in terms of faith, it was a different matter. So when I was asked the question about God's dreams, I asked myself the question of, what does God's economy look like? And the image that surfaced in me, which I never thought of before, was of the recycling symbol, but which in my own imagination I saw as an image of the economy at the very heart of life, God's economy, if you will, that said it's an economy in which nothing and no one is wasted. And it seemed so simple to me to imagine that at the heart of a city. And so I began almost immediately, just the power of that image made me begin to dream about what it would mean to have a city in which everyone was valued, in which the stuff of life was managed in a way that nothing was wasted, in which everyone's contribution became important to the way forward. And I had been deeply heartbroken over the waste of young life in the city, at the number of kids who were dying young. And so I really also started thinking about the measure of that economy being the lives of the young people who were being left behind. So I began to dream about what it would be like also to engage young people in our city in a way that their contribution made a particular difference to the way forward. And that dream became so powerful in me that 4 days later, after that conference ended, I quit a 16-year corporate banking career to figure out ways to bring that dream to life.